How are you?
Nice hat.
Thanks.
What's it say right here? Or
Well, I usually wear my Boston Red Sox hat, but I didn't
know.
wear it today. This one's just I think it's Nike.
Because they got spanked yesterday? Is that why you didn't wear it today?
It's only game one.
I know. I'm supportive, yes, for sure. So my Oakland A's are out of it completely. Hi, April Wright. Hi, Allison. Hi, Angela. Trying to say hi to everybody. It doesn't always work.
Hi, Rick.
All right. Okay, I really like this week. I don't know about you guys, but this was one of my favorite weeks of the videos. And I really want to make sure that you somehow absorb this week. Now, I don't want to embarrass anybody. I just want to ask, how many of you watched all of the videos for this week? Mike, look at you. You're overachiever. Ted, thank you. I saw some other hands. Allison, did you raise your hand? I couldn't see. Everybody raised them at one time. So, all right. Let's see. We got, hold on one second. We got somebody else joining us. Okay. Yeah. Letitia just came on. Letitia, we were asking everybody if they had watched all the videos this week. Well, that's certainly okay. But I can tell you, I don't even think all of the videos added up to 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's quick.
I don't think they did. All 5 of them didn't add up to 45 minutes. So the reason I say that is when they're that short, it's simple to think, like if you just try to fast forward when you're doing it, you might miss. The reason on this week that I was concerned is that sometimes it's a short video, it's maybe 6 minutes, and we'll say, oh, let me just fast forward through that. But I got to tell you, each of these was really value packed. So I'm going to share my screen and I want to talk about a couple of things here. Let me first find out what I've got here. I've got, let's see, the perfect week scheduler. Yeah. So they referred to, let me go like this, hold on. See, hold on, I'm trying to. Damn, I can't get it back to the whole, just the beginning of ramp. Okay, here we go. Good, now I can share my screen and show you this. So, oh, good, it's catch-up time. Anne-Marie, Allison, thank you for being, and Anne-Marie, don't worry about it. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just, as long as you're still proceeding in your own personal growth, that's what counts. So let's see, we'll share screen. Okay, all right, so on the first session, this was, to me, helping your buyer establish a offer price was real kind of high level, not real detailed. And I liked it that way because they're talking to people in all 50 states and all over Canada. And you can never know what each of the micro markets is like in terms of trying to advise thousands of agents in a training program. What I really want to make sure that I mention here, since I am a coach and I am hopefully extending your knowledge and your mindset to be able to absorb more thoughts, is the importance of knowing your local market. Whatever, and it doesn't, when I use the word local, I mean whichever of the markets you may choose to work in. My team, my real estate sales team is literally, I think we're working in about 125-mile radius, maybe a little more. I mean, we're representing buyers a good 2.5 hours from our center point. And that's because we happen to have buyers, agents that are in those areas that can work the leads and know the leads. But the reason I say that is, if I'm going to speak in an educated manner, or a knowledgeable manner to any buyer or seller in any area, all I've got to do is spend time on the MLS and maybe some time online Googling and checking out things. I remember going to take a listing appointment in a town that's not very far from my hometown, but I had never taken a listing there. It was a very high-end town, only about 20 minutes away. The name of the town is Menlo Park, kind of right near Palo Alto, and very expensive. The house was 1,100 square feet, ended up selling for, this is way back when, for 1.8 million. Tiny houses for $2,000 a square foot. That's crazy. So, and I remember going online and I found all kinds of videos that were posted by other agents about this area so that I could become an expert. By listening to some other stuff that agents had posted, I became a little expert in that area. I did not win the listing, but I sounded like a local agent. And that's what's most important, is that you sound like somebody who knows that marketplace. So when you're advising people how to establish an offer price, you need to know a little bit about what's going on. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What's the inventory? Now, here's something that we rarely talk about. I'm going to stop the share for a minute, is that we rarely talk about the actives versus pendings. And I may have mentioned it to some of you before. I certainly mentioned it on my free Friday coaching calls, is knowing how many active single family homes there are and how many pending single family homes there are. That ratio can help you determine how hot the market is. Now, there's a couple of other things. People always say, what do you think we should offer? Agents call me and say, that are working with me, and they say, oh, Rick, this is the listing and there's an offer date. What should we offer? Now, offer date has nothing to do with what things are going to end up selling for. Sometimes we just had a client in Sunnyvale, California, make an offer on a property over the comps for $700,000 over asking. It was listed for 2.4 million. They offered 3.1. The property ended up going for 3.4, which is $1 million over asking, even though $1 million over asking nowadays is like old news in the Bay Area. But the price was easily 350 or 450,000 over any comp. So what does that tell you about the comparables in that market? That they don't mean squat. Okay, you just got to go to whatever is your biggest number that you can walk away and say, if I lost it, that's okay. And that's what I tell our buyer clients. You have to write out a number that if you lost it, for whether it was $10 or $400,000, then you can say, that's okay, I wouldn't have gone any higher anyway. But if you find out what it went for, this is me talking to a buyer, and you say, gosh, I wish I would have gone that much, I told you to. I told you to go to that number that you can walk away feeling really good if you lost the house, because I wouldn't have gone that high anyway. How many of you are able to have that? Don't raise your hand, but how many of you are able to have that conversation honestly with every buyer you deal with, especially in a hot market? Good. Well, of course, Laura Lee, in your area, it's the same thing as Sunnyvale. It's going to go sort of a ridiculous price over. Hey, how much was that 380 square foot garage? Oh, we sold that for 9 million. So, but it's out of the realm of logic. But when you as an agent ask me, what should I offer? I'm always going to answer with the same thing. It's another question. It's going to be, did you run the comps? And for me, running the comps is not for looking for sold comps. It's for looking at the pending comps and calling the agent. Our MLS happens to show us which agent is representing the seller and the buyer when it's pending. So I can call the pending buyer agent and say, hi, congratulations. I'm writing an offer on another property in the neighborhood. Can you tell me how far over asking you went to win that? Usually, if I ask both the listing agent and the agent representing the buyer, I'll get an answer. Okay. And then I like to be that courteous when people call me. They call me and they beat around the bush, go, about that listing that you have pending, Rick. I just immediately say, oh, you don't need to beat around the bush. It's pending for this much money. Like, I want to help my fellow realtor because it's a tough market. Okay. So when they say preparing about how to prepare or help the buyer pick a price, there's a lot involved in that and a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. But your responsibility is not to tell them the number to offer. That's their job. You tell them the options, you tell them the comps. And if they say, if it was you, what would you be offering? Then be honest. Right? I told the people on that one that we just lost for $1 million over, I said, if this were me, I'd go to the fullest extent of my qualifications to win it. Meaning I can't go a penny more because I wouldn't qualify. They didn't. They can qualify for more, but I think they have in their head a comfort zone that isn't what they can qualify for. And that's fine. If it's whatever your limit of your comfort zone is, that's the one you want to go to. In fact, guys, most of the buyers we're dealing with right now can qualify for more than they're comfortable buying for. And I think that would be the case for most of you on this call too, regardless of what city, state you're in. Okay. So let's see. Next, let's go back to the next one then. This one, sorting your priorities. If you have not seen this, guys, they have an example. I was wondering if I can actually, oh yeah, let's do this. I really like this one. And I think some of you will know it, but I want to, I'm gonna stop share. And then I'm gonna share screen and optimize for sound and video. There we go. Now this one, by the way, is one of my closest personal friends. I'm the one who brought him to coach at Workman Success Systems.
Do you ever wish there were more hours in the day? Sometimes it feels like we have so many things to do and there's no way we can fit it all into just 24 hours. But guess what? I'm going to show you a system to help you figure out your priorities and manage your time most effectively. Let me show you. Take a look at these items.
How many of you guys have seen this before?
All of the rocks, pebbles, and sand in the jar.
Yeah.
But there's only so much space in it. Can we really fit all of this stuff in it? Let's figure it out. So first, we'll pour in the sand, and then the pebbles, and then we'll add the bigger rocks. It looks like there's just too much stuff to fit in that jar. Or is that really the case? What if we added them in a different order? This time, let's put the biggest rocks in first. Then we'll pour in the pebbles, then the sand. Ta-da! It all fits. The jar is full, and we're able to fit all the materials. So what?
Okay, so the reason I wanted to show you that is in the original example of that, it's a bigger jar, there's bigger rocks, and even when did you see the end there where she poured the sand? In the original example, the professor says to his class, he says, "Is it now full?" And everybody, almost everybody in the class raises their hand and says yes. Well, then he gets a pitcher of water and he pours it in. And of course, a lot of the water, it seeped down soaked into the sand all the way to the top. And it took a big chunk of water. And he said, no, now it's full. And the thing there is prioritization. Okay. I love the wrap up of this. It's understanding priority. They have the different things that they asked you to unlock and open. Here, let me show you this, the priority thing. This was really a big exercise, and I've done this exercise or had it presented to me at least 15 times by instructors where I was in the classroom since the early 90s. And this is something they call the Eisenhower box. You can just draw it out on a piece of paper. You don't need to have this fancy sheet. And you just write urgent, put a line down the middle, put not urgent, and then on the left you have important and not important. So what is urgent and important? What is important but not urgent? And just going through this process will drive you so freaking crazy that you're like, I know what I need to be doing right now, because you'll be so mad at yourself for having to do this, right? For understanding between what's, I love what Paul said on that video we were just watching. He said, a lot of times what's urgent is not important, and what's important is not urgent. And so, you know, like lifetime things, is it important to eat healthy? Yes, but it's not urgent. I can have a cookie today and still be healthy the rest of the week. Do you understand? Like, it's kind of complicated, but at the same time, when you start realizing the difference between activity and productivity, there's such a big difference, and not all activities are productive. So I think it's important that we saw that. And then, of course, later they talked about the perfect week scheduler. This is such a great thing. And you have a copy of it. You can alter it, you can change it, you can work it out. And when Sarah Bernard was the one who was talking about this in particular, I love that she started by saying, how many of you have spent 10, 15 minutes in a morning figuring out what to wear, right? Well, I love when I'm on Zoom because all I have to figure out is what shirt I'm wearing. That's all, right? But when I'm going out, like, you know, yesterday, me and my business partner, Shauna, were working on the office and projects. I went in with jeans and sneakers, right? But I would never typically let a client see me in anything but a sport jacket and a nice shirt and slacks. But the whole thing is, how much time did that take? All right. One of the things that's been impressive to my wife about me, which is surprising to me because I didn't think it was that impressive, is that I like to know what I'm wearing tomorrow before I go to bed. And when we're traveling, I'm packed a day and a half before we're leaving, and I already have laid out a couple days ahead of time what I'm wearing on the plane that day, so I don't have to worry about it, down to a clean pair of underwear so that I can shower, jump into my clothes, and leave for the airport. That is my level of organization as it relates to my life, because I know I need every minute possible. Now, relate that to the fact that we said, and at the end, like Cleve's last video before we get into the review was he had a 10-step item. And I love how he said, you know, one of them was simple smile when you're prospecting. It was all about prospecting and how you're going to organize your day such that you will never not prospect. All right. A guy that just recently passed away who was very near and dear to me, his name was Dave Jenks. And Dave Jenks was the co-author of most of Gary Keller's books. Certainly the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Dave Jenks, was a very important co-author. And this isn't about company right now. That book was very monumental in the revelation of what it could, how simple it is to create an effective real estate business as opposed to a real estate sales job. But Dave Jenks used to say this, the lead generation is so important that you must do it every day. And when you have time for nothing else, it should be the only thing you do. Okay, it's that vital. And that's why, you know, Gary Keller used to call it the one thing, and then later on wrote a book called The One Thing in relation to what's that single, listen to this, what is that single most important thing in your life that when you do it, doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary. Think about that. What is the one thing you could do in your health life that if you did it, everything else would become easier or unnecessary? All right. To me, that one thing is a proper nutritional diet, right? For instance, I remember reading for the first time, great abs. I've always wanted to have great abs. Great abs start in the kitchen. I saw you, April. You were mouthing that with me before I said it. So those are the kinds of things. So what happens? Like, even when I don't have time to exercise, I know if I eat right, I'm not contributing to the deterioration of my abs. You get that? So all of those things. Okay, so what's the one thing in your business life? Lead generation. You know, people say, well, lead generation, that's only for us commission-based people. No, what do you think a taxi driver does? He's driving around lead generating for somebody who will jump in his car and pay him. Do you get it? So it's lead generating is important. When people tell me, oh, I married the wrong person, I don't like him. I go, well, you did a bad job of lead generating, right? How was your prospecting back then? Probably wasn't very good. So, and I've lectured a lot of my female friends when they ask me for advice on relationship. I say, you give a buyer that you're never going to have a close relationship with more chances than you give a guy. Like I have friends of mine that are dating and they're like, oh, that guy, like he's got everything I need. And I go, well, why don't you talk to him? Oh, he's got a tattoo. What? You're going to eliminate a really good candidate because of a tattoo? That's really shallow. So I really talked to a person the other day about that, right? So yeah, everybody has their list, but we are so much less picky about what buyer we'll work with than what relationship we'll create, So I don't know. Think about your lead generation activities. So the word that was used by Verl and by Cleve and others on the call was fake work, fake work, fake work. And something Verl says that will tie it all together for you is this. They all use it, but Verl's one. Because of his values, family is at the top of his values. Literally his faith, and then his family. If you ever get to meet him, you can ask him that, he'll tell you. But what he says is, in the video, when he's wrapping it up, he says, what's keeping you from being the kind of agent that you're capable of and the one that would be best for what your family deserves? Why does he say that? Because when we make money in real estate, we have a purpose. And a lot of times the purpose is around family. Money for my kids' school, money to pay for this, pay for the household. And that's really important, is prioritizing such that at the end of the day, you're not in regret, right? And we all do that. Everybody on here's done it. Most of us are doing it right now. Like we're like, oh, should I be on this call or should I be doing this? It's right. Look at April. I love that you're loving it because you were so committed to it. You're doing it in your car. All right. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about is how many of you, I remember this guy, Chet was his name. I used to own a bunch of KW franchises. He would come from a neighboring franchise of the same company and attend all the classes I took. And he'd always sit in the front row and he'd always be there early. And he had his notebook and his pens and, all of these different things. About 2 years of this, where every time I taught a class, and I was teaching early big ones at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, and he'd be at every one of them. So I happened to run into the lady who owned the real estate office he was working at. And I said, man, that guy, she goes, who? And I told her, and she goes, oh yeah. What were you going to say about him? I said, he's at everything. He's right on top. He takes great notes. He asks good questions, and I go, how's he do? Does he sell a ton of houses? She goes, yeah, he hasn't sold a house in 6 months. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah, he's a professional student. He just goes to every class. But when I dug deep, guess what happened? He was paralysis analysis, right? Or analysis paralysis, where he felt like he could never jump into the real estate world until he knew everything. And when I had a long talk with him, I swear to God, this happened about you're never going to know everything. At the time, I was in my 29th or 30th year or something in the real estate industry. Maybe it was 28 or 29. And I said, I'm still doing transactions where I find things I've never come across before and I have to learn something new. I said, just surrender to the fact that you are going to fail forward, and you'll have successes along the way. 3 weeks later, he was under contract on a home because somebody gave him permission to stop learning and start doing. Okay. And some of my greatest mentors have said, are we learning for the sake of knowing, or are we learning for the sake of doing? Think about that. How many things do you write down or that you absorb, okay, and then say, gosh, that's a great principle, and that's where it stays in the notebook. It stays in the notebook. And I used to joke around when I did so many business planning clinic classes in my life, probably well over 300 of them, maybe more, I don't know. And I would tell people, is this notebook going to end up being the thing that you put under the table that you need to balance that one leg that's off, right? Is that the good of this booklet, of all these notes you took? Is it just going to end up holding a door open on a windy day? Or are you actually going to go back and open the booklet and read it and reread your notes? And that's the one thing, in a life where I have learned, not all my life, but certainly in the last 15 years, that storage spaces are just a big waste of money. Okay, it's a waste of money because most people pay into the cost for a storage unit so long and for so much that they could have bought back everything that was in there, right? And believe me, I'm one of those guys. I have checked. I have spent personally $48,000 in my life on storage units. Never again. But the one thing in my attempt to not have to have a storage unit is the collection of all of these notebooks. And you think, okay, you got all those notebooks, but every once in a while, believe it or not, there'll be a big stack on the table. My wife will go, what are you doing? And I go, I just want to kind of just peek in there, right? See what's going on. And that is detrimental to me having, no storage spaces. So, all right. I'm going to stop right there for a second. I want to get back to, the other, let's see. Yeah. All right. So then time blocking with my perfect week. And then of course the 10 commitments of prospecting and converting leads. That one, I think that video was huge from Cleve. So I want to make sure that you give that its credit. Guys, there's not enough minutes on this. Okay, good. So Carla, as our Anne-Marie said that, let's see, our prospecting calls are urgent and important. What's an example of urgent but unimportant? What could be urgent if it's not even important? Okay, so here's what I mean by that. And that's a great question, Carla. And it sounds like Anne-Marie, which means most of you probably are confused by that. So let me think, what's urgent that's not important? So important can be what's, for instance, gosh, I'm having trouble with this right now because everything I'm thinking about is both urgent and important because of what's in my head right now. So let me think about this. Is grocery shopping important or urgent if there's no food in the house? Right? It's important, but it's not urgent. Let's be honest, right? You're not going to starve. And okay, I'll give you an example. You've got guests coming this weekend and you've got to clean out the closet because they're going to hang stuff in the closet. That's important, not urgent. In other words, is the coat closet, the lead generation, if you're broke, is urgent, like urgent. You need to do some lead generation right this minute. The coat closet is important, not urgent, okay? It's important because I have guests coming over. Now, technically, cleaning the garage is not important and not urgent. Now, there's some times when, if you listen to Casey, because she is a high D, and the garage, I'll just use the garage as a parking spot. As a dumping point for stuff that I want out of my neat, clean house. Put that in the garage. And then finally, nice, Mike. Finally, she'll walk through the garage. Like, I always make sure there's room for her car because that's the only car that goes in the garage. Honey, I made room for your car. I'm a good guy. And she'll walk through it after parking her car and realize there's stuff all over. And she'll go, when are you going to get to the garage? And she wants it to be both urgent and important. It's neither. The garage being clean is not urgent or important. In fact, I would be challenged to find out a time when it was. Well, recently, in our garage, we've had a pool table that was in our house till 2017. That pool table was purchased by her dad when he was 15 years old. That was 55 years ago. And we just bought a new home and we wanted to honor her dad and say, we have made a spot in our new home for your pool table. So now the garage cleaning became important because I had to get the car out and clean everything up so he could get to that pool table that was in pieces against the wall. It was very well covered and protected. And then he cleaned every nook and cranny with Q-tips of a 9-foot authentic pool table. And here it is in my new house now, sitting there all beautiful. That's when it became both urgent and important, right? That's the kind of thing we measure every day. So I want, so Carla, let's get on. Where are you, Carla? I lost you on the screen. Oh, there you are. I'm going to one day teach you to turn your darn thing around so the window is facing your face. I'm kidding. So tell me what's on your schedule for today, even if there's nothing written in your calendar. Do you guys notice that there's stuff you do in a day and you know you're going to do it, but it's not in your calendar? How many people have stuff you know you're going to do today and it's not in your calendar? Raise your hand. Okay, good. I can't see you raising your hand because most of you don't have your camera on. But so Anne-Marie, name one thing that you're going to do later today but it's not in your calendar, but you know you're going to do it.
I have to run to the grocery store to pick up a few things.
Okay. And is that going to help with dinner tonight or breakfast tomorrow or something pretty soon that you need that stuff for?
For the weekend.
Right. So guys, if I were coaching Anne-Marie, I'd go, why the freak isn't it in your calendar? Because if you went to that perfect week thing, they want to know what's going on every 30 minutes from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed. And I can't look at one of those and without asking somebody, go, did you not go to the bathroom the whole day? Like not the whole day. You didn't go to the bathroom. You didn't shower. Now I get it. During COVID, a lot of people were going 2, 3, 4 days a week without showering. I get that. But for the most part, we are all doing things all day that aren't in our calendar. So it's important that you start to look at that and say, why is it not in my calendar? I needed to get it done. I've got to fit it somewhere. And by the way, this is more recent for me. It's not 42 years in the real estate industry. I have been doing this. No, but I got to tell you, the last 20 years, my calendar has been vital because you ever heard someone say, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person you know? How many people have heard that or had it said about you? Right. You know why? Because they know people who are busy get shit done. All right. So it's important that you start looking. So when, Carla, give me an idea really quickly for you, take yourself off mute and tell me what's going to be done today that's not in your calendar. One thing, if you don't mind me saying so.
Well, the same thing as the other person. I have to go to the grocery store. I don't even know what I'm making for dinner. So I got to figure that out and go to the grocery store. And that's not on my calendar yet.
Right. But for both you and Anne-Marie right now, which on my screen, you are right above each other. That is important, but it is certainly not urgent. You get what I'm saying? In other words, if I said to you, don't answer this, by the way, either of you, how many buyers are you working with? Do you have any listings coming up or listings under contract? And if you said a lower number than I know was the number for your goal, right? And because it's not important what the number is, it's important, is it working towards you getting where you want to go? So let's remember that. But if that number wasn't equivalent to that, Gary Keller used to say that when he was coaching me. He'd say, get a sleeping bag and stay in the office, Rick, don't go home. Because if I call you and you haven't reached the number of listing appointments you were committed to reach your goal, then you're not going home. You're going to keep going until you get that number. Either change your goal or change your habits, one or the other, right? And Charlie, my wife's, the guy that got my wife into the network marketing business 13 years ago, he always says, no, there's no changing your goal. You're going to do the work. You're not changing your goal. So everybody's got their own little rules. Like Charlie's a fanatic. You know, he's almost 50 years old and his body looks like he's been working out his whole life and he's only 34, right? I mean, but the point is that everybody's got their rules about this stuff. Shauna, who's my business partner on my team, says taking my day off has helped me a ton in organizing my weekly schedule. And that's such a true statement. I used to hear another coach called Walter Sanford back in the 80s say, if you don't take a day off, you're never going to have a day on, meaning you're never going to be truly who you are. So this is a really good subject for people doing what we're doing right now, going through a weekly video training program. And then I know that right before I do this call every week, either Thursday night or Friday morning, I go through all the videos again, right? And that's when I'm able to say, okay, this wasn't that big of a time commitment. And I go back to what I said last week and the week before, guys, and I'm going to say it every week. The doctor said an apple a day keeps the doctor away. He didn't say eat 7 apples on Saturday. So, that's going to be a constant reminder because it's a very simple reminder of how am I handling my habits, right? So prioritization is huge. I do want to reiterate again that in Cleve Gaddis's, the second to last video, the last video before they did the review for week 6 says that one of the things on there is smile. And remember, his list was about prospecting. So it was organizing, prioritize, setting your schedule. But when you're doing the prospecting, whatever it is, that you're smiling. And I remember taking training back where you would have a literally a stand. This is pre-computer days. And they would tell you to clip a little makeup mirror on there so that while you were getting on the phone calling, you could see yourself smiling, because energetically the people on the other end of the phone. And I realize my wife calls me an AA. Have I shared with all of you what she means when she calls me an AA? Anyone? Oh, okay, because I'm Lebanese by nationality, and Lebanese are considered Arabs. The language is Arabic. She calls me an angry Arab. Okay, so AA means angry Arab. So if she hears me on the phone with an agent who's causing my impatience to come up because they haven't read one word in the confidential remarks of the listing, she'll go, when I'll hang up, she'll go, oh, I can see AA is back, right? Or something sarcastic like that. So I can pay attention to how I'm being. But I notice if she said that and then the phone rings again, I'll notice myself change my posture, and then I'll go like this, almost like a sarcastic fake smile. And I'll answer the phone and I'll go, hi, this is Rick. How may I help you? Now, I always answer the phone, hi, this is Rick. How may I help you? But it's a little bit more serious. And then I go, hi, this is Rick. How may I help you? And you would be shocked how it changes the attitude of the person on the other end, shifts it. And now there's a nice, pleasant conversation going on. So everything that we're talking about right now is going to affect your day, your positivity. And we've learned a lot. If you look at everything that they did, other than the first video, which was how to help your buyer set a price, it almost like that one didn't belong in the week, because the rest was all about lead generating and prioritizing your week. But these are the areas of weakness. Now, remember, guys, I know we're talking about ramp, but right now it's 39 minutes after the hour, wherever you are. And I want to make sure that you feel comfortable, because you can ask any question on this call, anything that has to do with your real estate sales business or your mindset or your frustrations. And I promise, if it's something I don't feel comfortable answering in front of the whole group, we can talk offline about it, because it's important to me, so important to me, that you are handling the crap that comes up in your life while trying to be a successful real estate agent. And if there's no better venue than this to do it in. Okay, because we are talking about everything that plays havoc, your demons, your habits, your I'm not enoughs, they're all showing up in this training program. And, I can't say enough. There's not a week that goes by that I don't say, I can't wait for my 10 o'clock ramp call, because I'm experiencing all the things you are. So you never look at someone and say, oh, they're past that. No, you're never past your demons. You're never past your habits. And by the way, what you call bad habits that I call ineffective habits, you have a bad habit is just a habit. What you call a bad habit, when I call ineffective, means that habit doesn't get me to where I want to go. All right. Ineffective habits, or what you call bad habits, never go away. They're always in you. You've just learned a habit that gets you closer to your results quicker. So you tend to use that, meaning it overpowers the other habits. Okay. So when people say the new me, I go, no, the new me and the old me, they're all still in there. You just have to, you want to feed the new me more than the old me. Right. So, okay, I'll stop for a minute. Love to hear comments, thoughts, ahas. What are you struggling with? Let's see. My question is bonehead. No such thing as a bonehead question. What CMA is everyone using? That's a really good question. Shauna, in my meeting with her yesterday when we were discussing buyer presentations and buyer consultations, was really direct with me. And she said, you don't do CMAs. You just print up all the pendings, actives, and solds, don't you? And you know what? I looked at her and I go, shut up. Because yes, that's, oh, did you mean CRM, Anne-Marie? Okay. Well, CRM, me and my team are actually using, for the first time in my career, the one that the company offers. When I was at, I've been at a bunch of different companies, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Keller Williams. But when I when I was with those companies, I never used what they offered because I wanted my own thing. But in this case, I had been coaching other agents who had been using KV Core before I came to EXP, and I'm using KV Core, and Gina, my assistant, is doing a wonderful job of making it work. But we also use other tools. Believe it or not, I still have a top producer account for over 30 years. And I also use a new company called RealVolve, because RealVolve is more based in managing your database, and KV Core is more about lead generation and tracking those leads and following up and stuff like that. So we use a couple of different things. Anybody else want to throw in what they're using? Just unmute yourself and say it or put it in the chat. Okay. Yeah.
I've been using Wise Agent
Okay.
and KV Core. So I use KV Core for the lead generation side of it. And then I've been using Wise Agent probably like 15 years.
Okay. Was that you, April?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I use CloudStream, which is what Wise Agent uses as a CMA, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Cloud CMA.
Oh, okay, cool. Meaning they're part of the same product.
Yeah, they're integrated in there. So if you already have a Cloud CMA account, which is free with my MLS
Yeah.
association, then they automatically integrate with a lot of great third parties.
Can I say something about that Cloud CMA?
No,
I
sorry,
heard-
Anne-Marie, you've used up all your stings. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I heard, I used to use Cloud CMA all the time too, until I found out KV Core has one now, but I heard that Cloud CMA gives your data to cash buyers. So anytime that you use Cloud CMA to do a CMA, somehow these express offers, or I don't know, iBuyers get the information and contact your people. It's never happened to me, but I've been hearing that a lot lately, so.
Wow, that's not good. And isn't Cloud CMA through Armless?
Yeah, most MLSs have Cloud CMA as part of their service, right? I've been using it for years. And I just heard that recently, like this past week. So.
Yeah. All right, good. Go ahead,
I'll chime-
Rosie.
Yeah, I'll chime in a little bit just about a CMA because I've used probably all of them in the last, 15 years. I've used, Bold Leads, Haslan. I've used Boomtown. I used Conversion, the first version of KV Core, Lion Desk, Wise Agent, Market Leader. So I've used, all of them. Let me tell you the big difference in the CRMs. The biggest difference has been actually using your CRM, okay? And this is kind of it's true, because they don't just magically do stuff, they are like, well, it's not working. Well, because I wasn't working. So one thing that I learned from other agents through the years is those that do it really effectively, whatever CRM, and I mean, KV Core is so incredibly robust. It has everything. It has the squeeze pages, the drip campaigns, video campaigns, text campaigns, email campaigns. It really has everything that you need. It has the team version too, if you're growing a team. But the big difference has been time blocking. First of all, time to work your business, right? So just how you, as a real estate agent, would typically in the past, before COVID, you would go and you would say, okay, I'm going to do Mondays and Wednesdays, or daily, I'm going to do door knocking, or daily, I'm going to do my phone calls, right? So with technology, with the internet, with social media, with the new way of doing real estate, you have to time block that door knocking time or that lead prospecting time, which now includes, and is awesome because now you can touch your 100 contacts or 500 or 1,000 with the click of one button. So like, how about logging in and sending a message like, hey, it's October, it's time for Halloween, here's a great tip on a pumpkin pie recipe. I don't know, right? But shift your mind to not just respond to when leads are inquiring, which you might have 5 or 6 people that are actively engaged, and you can see that on your KV Core, to this is my relationship building tool, and set aside half an hour specifically to lead generate, to connect, to build relationships utilizing, again, KV Core. So I just want to throw that tip. I don't care what you use. It can be like the simplest one. Line Desk is a very simple one. I still have like my database that I keep there because it's free. But KV Core is what allows me to do all the other, bells and whistles. Just make sure you time block that half hour a day to do it. I've got an agent in Las Vegas. He's got 2 screens. He shows up to work. This is his office. Okay, he is on there all day. He's sending messages. He's following up with messages. He's pushing out ads. He runs his whole business from KV Core and 2 screens every day. And, he does amazing. He's an icon agent. It's Ian Pallasrick.
Oh, he does that that way? Wow. Yeah.
He shows up every day to work, and that's what he does. So, that's his business. That's all I have to say about that.
That was really, really great input, especially the beginning where you said it doesn't matter which KV Core, which CRM you're using, as long as you're using it. It's just so good. And the only reason I laughed is because I'm the perfect example of that. I tell people, I go, you should do the squeeze pages on KV Core. They work amazing. And they'll go, how do you do that? I go, no freaking idea. Because someone else does that. But I know it works because she tells me, Gina says it works, right? To do squeeze pages or landing pages. But yeah, there's a lot of tools in there that we're not using. And they're the nice thing, Gina, are you available real quick for a question?
I am, yes.
She's managing an empire over there, a newborn baby and 10 other people all at the same time. So Gina, when you go into the KV Core thing, you said something to our agents on the team the other day. It's called, what is it, that click that you can start the whole training program for KV Core? You called it something. You said, I can see most of you haven't done that. What was that called again?
The Agent Success Plan.
Yeah, the Agent Success Plan. Everybody, I get calls all the time from people at EXP saying, I need to get better EXP training. And I go, have you done the Agent Success Plan? They go, what's that? I go, it's right there. You just click on it. Like even I was able to find it. So it's definitely very important that you, that becomes, that you at least do that, right? Don't you think, Gina, that they can learn so much more about that product and what they can
yeah,
do
for
with
sure.
it?
You learn all the basics of KV Core through the Agent Success Plan. And there's also the new live training calendar, and they hold weekly live Q&As. So you can look at the calendar and see when they're available. And anytime you have a question about KV Core, you can hop on that class and they'll help you with everything.
Yeah, good point. All right, good. This is what I like. Like we can talk about the videos, but if we're not getting down to what's really bothering you, we're not kind of taking good care of you. But this is definitely, like I said, I want to remind you that week 6 is a very powerful week. The recording, they're short. All 5 videos don't take 45 minutes, and just really good stuff. So I'm going to ask you, if you watched them in a hurry, watch them again. If you haven't watched them, take your time, go through them, take the notes. There's a couple of downloads. I would really want you to watch the Big Rocks video, and then there's the Perfect Week Scheduler, and then there's the Eisenhower paperwork that we talked about before. And maybe next week when you guys come on, let me know what you determined was important but not urgent, and what was urgent but not important, and even better yet, how many things did you find that were not urgent or important, right? And that's where it becomes fake work. So it's not important for me to get out all those, or urgent for me to get out all those old notebooks and start reviewing notes that I took as many as 25, 30 years ago. But I'd like to, but it's neither important nor urgent. So that kind of stuff. So, all right. Rosie, I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to have your loveliness on our call today. Rosie, I think most of you might know who Rosie is, but if you don't, she's a rock star. She's owned Keller Williams offices. She owns a large mortgage company, insurance company, escrow companies, and she has affected positively the lives of thousands of women, and more importantly, more thousands of humans, period. So Rosie, thanks for popping on and sharing your wisdom with us.
Oh, thank you. One thing you did not share, and that's a very nice introduction, is that I'm also a notebook hoarder. So I have notebooks from years ago. So right there with you.
Yeah. So, All right, guys. Well, we're at the end of our day. Please do the things that you know you're capable of doing that will get you the goals you're looking for, and you will have the things you want. So I'm looking forward to next Friday. And let's see, next Friday will be, we remember the first and third Fridays, we have both the ramp call, but right before it, we have the free Friday coaching call, and hope you'll be on that also. Okay.
Hey, Rick, if you don't
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah.
just to give everybody a reminder that our annual convention is this coming month of November 9th through the 11th in Las Vegas.
Yeah. 8th through 12th is what I tell everybody.
So yes,
You're
8th through 12th.
Yep. You're going to be too busy on the 9th to get there on the 9th. So get there on the 8th, enjoy the pre-party on the night of the 8th, and then don't leave on the 11th because there's a big party at the night of the 11th. Just plan on leaving on the 12th. So.
And second to that, if you guys are not tuning in, we do have our Friday leadership meeting inside the world, and Glenn Sanford was speaking there today. Michael Valadez has been there. So I just recently put that in my calendar. It's 8 to 8:30 in the morning on Fridays, and that is the company leadership meeting. So you hear from, the COO, the CEO, the president, everybody's on there, and they're just 30 minutes, but you get some really good insights on what's happening with the company. You can ask questions. You also have top producers that they put on there sharing some magical secret to their business. So just want to remind you of that too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see, we're getting more chats I can cover. How do we access the Friday meeting? Let's see.
You would pop into the world with your avatar and
Wait, well, Manny, are you talking about the free Friday coaching call or the Friday meeting that she was talking about?
No, the free Friday coaching call.
Oh, email my assistant and she'll put you on the list. Or a better thing is if you go to https, empirebuilders.pro. If you go to empirebuilders.pro, you can look under resources and it says training, and then it tells you about the call and you can just click on it at that time. But it'd be better if you just email my assistant, because then she'll put your email onto the permanent email list for the free Friday coaching call. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, go have an amazing weekend. And Anne-Marie and Carla, good luck with the shopping. Okay. Make sure you get 1 bag of cracked pepper kettle chips for me. All right. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rick.
Bye, everybody.